The redevelopment agency meeting of June 20, 2007 is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. Item number 3 is approval of the final minutes by reference to the special joint City Council and regular Redevelopment Agency meeting of May 15, 2007 and regular Development Agency meeting of May 16, 2007. No additions or corrections. Make a motion for approval of those final minutes.
Very good. Let's vote. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Taking over. All right, Council number 75, discussion and possible action regarding memorandum of understanding between the City of Las Vegas and REI Neon LLC regarding the possible future. Am I wrong? Okay. Righto. Thank you. Council number 74. Thank you. Discussion and possible action regarding a joint disposition and development agreement between the City of Las Vegas, City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency, and Alpha Omega Strategies, Inc. regarding vacant land consisting of approximately 3.39 acres located along Westmoreland and Laurelhurst, adjacent to 1501 North Decatur Boulevard, and approximately 9.95 acres located at 1501 North Decatur Boulevard. Council number 88, R51-2007, discussion and possible action regarding a resolution consenting to the sale of real property located at 1501 North Decatur Boulevard and described as APN 138-25-503-006 by the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency to Alpha Omega Strategies, Inc. Agency number 4, public hearing on a joint disposition and development agreement between the City of Las Vegas, the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency, RDA, and Alpha Omega Strategies, Inc., and Agency number 5, RA-9-2007, discussion and possible action regarding a resolution finding the proposed disposition and development agreement between the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency and Alpha Omega Strategies, Inc. to be in compliance with and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of the redevelopment plan. All of these items are in Ward 5. Councilman Barlow. Mr. Adams.
Good morning again. Scott Adams, Director of the Office of Business Development. I'm going to kind of walk you through very slowly on these items because on the 1501 Decatur project, we have a situation where both the city and the redevelopment agency own real estate and are conveying that real estate. Thus, the reason we have 2 items on the council and 2 items on the RDA agenda. And I'll just real quick, like on the overhead, point out. Just point out that property ownership relationship. In green, you see the main site, which was where the Wonder World was, which is the property owned by the redevelopment agency, and in blue were former residential properties along the rear. That property is owned by the City of Las Vegas. The city used affordable housing set-aside redevelopment agency monies to purchase those properties, but the title of the property is vested with the city, and that's why we have a little bit more complicated situation with respect to these items. I'm going to give you an overview of what all of these items are and try to tie each one back to the agenda items. What the city and RDA are doing are conveying this real estate to Alpha Omega Strategies for the development of an affordable senior housing development. Alpha Omega Strategies, well, we're conveying this property at a purchase price of $6.5 million. Alpha Omega Strategies has deposited a 5%, and they've done this already, a 5% $325,000 security deposit. The appraised value of these sites, actually we've gotten 2 appraisals recently, and we've had to do this because of AB 312. Ranged in December of last year, late $9.2 million to $9.6 million about a month later. I want to, that doesn't come out either. I don't know if we can pull that up and.
How much is the Alpha Omega? How much is Alpha Omega tendering to the city?
5%, $325,000.
What is the total figure, though? Well, what are they buying? What are they paying for?
They're paying $6.5 million,
6.5,
5%.
okay. Very
That's
good.
correct.
Okay, and
And
that was the appraisal at the time that they...
yeah, and that's what I'm showing you on the overhead here. I kind of wanted to just walk you through the evolution of values on this site, because I think it's important to mark in time when we started the negotiations with Alpha Mega Strategy and show you the appraised value of the property at the time we started those negotiations. It shows that back in 2003, we had done an appraisal on the property of $3.2 million. We then had one done in March of 2005 at 6.5. Now, one of the reasons why the rapid rise there is, as you know, during that 04-05 time frame, there was a tremendous acceleration of land values in the valley, not just downtown, but valley-wide. I mean, that's a historical event here in commercial property in the Las Vegas Valley. Then we, because the state legislature passed a new law, AB 312, we've now been obligated to provide updated appraisals. And we did those, as it shows in the chart there, in 06, late and early 07. And that's where I referenced the $9,190,000, or roughly $9.2 million and $9.6 million, respectively. I think the reason I'm pointing this out is, at the time we started our negotiations with Alpha Mega Strategies, and you first entered into an agreement with them, we were selling the property to them at appraised value. And I just really wanted to make that point. It's only been since then that we've been obligated to reappraise it near the tail end of our negotiations under our AB 312 obligations that we've realized an increase in the value of it due to appraisal. And I simply wanted to make that point for the record. I'm going to walk you through additional points with respect to this project. The city has, through the years, acquired these properties, cleared these properties, and done some very minor environmental remediation on the site. And our investment in the property is $8.5 million. That's acquisition, clearance, and some remediation. So we're having to reconcile in one of the resolutions you're going to approve today, which is an AB 312 resolution, the public purpose for the difference between what have appraised it for, what we have into it, and what you're selling it for. And I think I pointed out for the record that we're selling it for the value that was appraised at the time we started negotiations. So there is a reconciliation of a difference in value of somewhere between $2 and roughly $3.5 million or $3 million. And so one of the resolutions you'll approve, the first City Council resolution, and I think that's Council Resolution 88, provides for a redevelopment exemption provided under AB 312 to do that. It exempts you from the auction process and selling at appraised value. Now, we've also done on this project a public purpose analysis, and I just want to, for the record, indicate that Alpha Mega Strategies plans to build at least 600 affordable age-restricted units and 50,000 square feet of retail development on their property. We estimate, working with them and their numbers based on their master plan, that would produce about $55.8 million in taxable investment. And when you combine that with the land investment, we'll have about $62 million of investment on this property. When you look at how much tax increment finance will be generated by that private investment, carry that out over 20 years, and then look at the present value of that tax stream, there's a significant amount of tax benefit in today's dollars that would warrant or justify that difference between what we're selling for and the most recent appraised value on the site. So we're justifying it through a public purpose analysis quantitatively. But at the same time, in our public purpose analysis, we're also identifying the fact that this project meets a significant public need in the community, and that is providing affordable senior housing. I've heard you, as a council, a number of times when this project's come before you, indicate there's a critical need in this community for affordable senior housing. So for the record, and going into the resolution that you'll pass for AB 312, there's two things that we want to establish: that there's sufficient quantitative benefits coming from this project to justify the difference, and there's a sufficient qualitative public purpose being met on this project. So I wanted to establish that for the record right now. We have also changed the way, since we first started under an exclusive negotiating agreement with Alpha Mega Strategies, we've structured the deal. We initially were going to work this under a purchase and sale agreement. Under that approach, we would have transferred title up front, and then they would have been required to perform after they took title to the property. One of the issues with that is, should they not perform, then we'd have the difficult task of chasing the property back, that getting title of the property back through a reentry clause. We've turned that around under this transaction. We now are proposing and putting before you a disposition and development agreement with a lengthy escrow period, a 6-month escrow period. What that allows is for us to demand performance on the part of the developer during that escrow period. They will have to prove up during that escrow period their financing, their construction commitments, and have really all of their due diligence in place prior to actual close of escrow before we transfer title of the property. So they would have to prove performance on the front end before we actually transfer title. In spite of that, we've added another provision in there after the fact, that we also hold the right under this development agreement for the right to re-enter if after we close, and with all that due diligence in place and performance documentation, they don't perform and start construction, we have the right to re-enter at a point after closing. So we believe we've created a disposition development agreement that affords the public protections on the front end and affords protections on the back end. And so from that standpoint, we believe we have a very strong development agreement. In fact, I stand before you saying that we probably scrutinized this development agreement as much as any I've brought before you, as from the standpoint of the city and the redevelopment agency. There's also provision in the agreement with respect to the fact that on this site, if I get the overhead again, there is a cross-parking easement that's in place, enjoyed by the adjacent property owner for parking use on our redevelopment agency-owned site where there's parking. We've, in the agreement, during that escrow period, it provides that that cross-parking easement get resolved prior to close. But very recently, through further due diligent discovery on the part of Alpha Omega, we've discovered collectively that there's only 5 years remaining on that cross-parking easement. They believe that they can comply with the terms of that cross-parking easement through the end of, through the termination of that agreement, which is 2013. And that during both construction and the operation of their project, they'll be able to comply through provision of sufficient parking to meet the terms of that cross-parking easement. There was a concern, I think you've expressed a concern in briefing, and then we certainly have the concern that that cross-parking easement, if we approve the agreement today, it would grant the adjacent property owner tremendous leverage in negotiating the removal of that cross-parking easement. But they believe they can keep it in place and comply with it, so there's no need to remove the cross-parking easement. So that really is the deal. We've got a specified purchase price. We have a standard, but I believe very strong disposition and development agreement with public protections established and put in place, protect the city and the RDA for performance. I would compare this to, very similarly, the agreement that we entered into with CityMark on the Jewel project. We've often referred to this as something like that, where we did create a delayed escrow process and required them to perform, such that when we got down to the point where we were ready to close on that, we knew everything was in place and they were going to start construction. And we have a very, very similar type situation here. So that's kind of an overview of the project. I wanted to establish for the record our findings in terms of public purpose, because I think that's a very important part of this transaction. There are 4 items, and City Council item number 88 needs to be approved before item 74. I need to mention that. We inadvertently reversed them in the order of the agenda. The AB 312 resolution of the City Council must be approved first, item number 88, before you can have the council actually approve the disposition development agreement. We have to make that resolution, make those findings, before you can actually approve entering into the disposition of the property as established by state law. Then there's another thing that you're going to be doing that we haven't done in a while. We have not disposed of RDA property in a while, and state law requires a public hearing on any disposition of RDA property. So that's the reason for RDA item number 4, really to have a public hearing to hear comment on the disposition of redevelopment agency property. And then item number 5 is a findings of the RDA that this project's in compliance with the redevelopment plan and that you've approved the disposition of development agreement from the RDA's perspective, given that this is a joint development agreement between both the city and the RDA. So there's an overview of the project, the 4 items that you're approving today, and staff recommends approval of these items. Now, there are representatives from Alpha Omega here, and I think they have, we have worked with them diligently. I want to mention one other thing for the record. There has been a delay from the point we started our negotiations to this point, and I've forgotten, quite frankly, about a significant event that occurred that was a significant cause of that delay, and that was there was some litigation that took place between some back property owners in the city and Alpha Omega, which really kind of delayed their ability to really enter into a transaction with the city on this property until that litigation was disposed of. That has happened, and we're able to move forward, and that was really one of the primary factors which really caused a delay on their part in really moving forward with the kind of due diligence they needed to in terms of producing plans and cost estimates and the things that we needed to effect a good development agreement. And I think they're here today to really give you a quick overview of what those plans are that they are now developed and are, quite frankly, fairly exciting for this property.
All right, thank you, Mr. Adams. Before we hear from the applicant, do you suggest that we have the public hearing first?
Well, I think it's perhaps in order to take the items in order, City Council item number 88.
Okay.
City Council item number 74. Then the RDA public hearing must occur before the RDA can take action on the approval of RDA item number 5. And I'm suggesting that order unless the attorney has any other.
I think that's fine. It's your choice, Your Honor. You can hold the public hearing.
I'd like to hold the public hearing on agency item number 4 now.
Okay.
That way we'll be able to concentrate on listening to the applicant. Anybody like to be heard on the joint disposition and development agreement between the City of Las Vegas, the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency, and Alpha Omega Strategies, Inc.?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Tom McGowan, Las Vegas resident. Thank you for this opportunity to address this issue. To the best of my recollection, this project has been in the works for quite a long time, and I think it's reached its maturity. I enthusiastically recommend approval of all of the pertinent items to this project. Thank you very much.
Anybody else would like to be heard of the public hearing on agency item number 4, please?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Lance Moran with the senior board. Just like to repeat the fact that we will be doubling in the next 10 years our senior population in this town. 43% of our population lives or has an income of 130% or less of the poverty level. We have a need today for 10,000 units of affordable housing for seniors every year for the next 5 years.
Is that in Las Vegas?
This is in the city of Las Vegas, yes. It's overwhelming the number of people who who need this type of affordable housing. That's enough said.
Thank you. Anybody else, please?
Beatrice Turner, West Las Vegas. This man here just took what he's saying with seniors needing affordable housing. That is true. I have 4 seniors now that I need to centrally locate them. And it's hard to find a place for them that they can afford. So, and you know, we've been waiting for this for quite a long time. Because see, my seniors was looking forward to this coming along. And you have, and like, I have one senior that I can't put in something like this because she's only 50. You have to be 55. And this is a need for seniors that's on fixed income. I have seniors that don't get but $10 a month, $11 a month in food stamps. I go today I'm not at work, but yesterday every house I went into step 1 who don't have to pay power bill, no, they would not turn their power on. They had a ceiling fan, and it was hot as hell in them houses yesterday when I went up in there. And they need something that they can afford so they can turn on their air. They can turn on their heat. They can be able to afford to go to the grocery store with more than $11 to $30 a month to eat on for the whole month. And if it wasn't for commodities every other month, they barely would make it. Now, you know, I don't know if this project gonna go forward, but I hope it do, because I have four patients that I can centrally locate and put all 4 of them there. And since gas is so high, I don't have to travel all across town. So I hope this works, because you just don't know how you have seniors out there that's struggling, that barely can make it, and they can't afford the rents that in some of these developments that don't have affordable housing. And that's why I get so upset when people come stand here and say we building affordable housing, but the rent is not damn affordable. So, because I'm out there 6 days a week, I know. And this is what it's going to take for your seniors who's on fixed income that don't have any money. This is what it's going to take for them. And I hope this go forth so by next year I can move all 4 of my patients in one location and I can go from apartment to apartment.
Right. Would anybody else like to be heard at the public hearing? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing then. Could I have a motion, Councilman Barlow, accepting the public hearing?
Yes, I would like to move forward with approval, subject to all staff's conditions.
Very good. Let's vote, please. That's on item number 4. Vote, please. Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. McDonald, be happy to hear from you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Michael McDonald, 49 Carmen Boulevard, representing Alpha Mega Strategies. With me today, I have Richard L. Henry, Vice President of Alpha Mega Strategies, and also Arnie Stock, who's been the architect and driving force behind the architecture of what you see here today. And in the audience, we also have Matthew Rexroad, representing Greg and Gary Rexroad, and also Brandon Rexroad family. With us not here today, Your Honor, which I believe that you have spoken with, is Bruce Bain, Pecola, Nevada. Bruce Bain's our partner in this, along with his family, on the Bain family. He has been a leader in the community for such a long time. He has been a coach. He's been a philanthropist. Now he also wants to be able to indulge into building apartments for senior citizens that are on fixed income. Part of the vision he's developed along with the Pecola family, what you see up in Pecola Ranch, which has been probably one of the most expensive areas in the entire city of Las Vegas, if not the county of Clark. Looking at this, we had an opportunity, and it has been a long time. And, Your Honor, if I could at the very end of this, take some time to thank some of your staff members as well as council members that have poured their heart and soul into this, that made this fruition come true, if you will. If you look on it, this is looking west. If you're coming, on Decatur Boulevard, this is kind of what the architectural rendering is going to look like. We want to make it more of an exciting area. If anybody is, Councilman Barlow, first of all, welcome. I apologize, my manners have gone. You've represented this area for a long time, so you know exactly what I'm discussing. And Councilwoman Tarkanian, you represented it as well. The area is in blight, Your Honor. I've lived there for 42 years, and the area has gone down significantly due to the fact there are no rooftops, and no one wants to go in an old area that kind of looks like Beirut. But we as neighbors finally have an opportunity to put our arms around this. The The architecture itself, Your Honor, is kind of aggressive, I think, for an area. I think everybody that saw this, has seen this, would look at this and say, well, that's a beautiful area. It would look great downtown, but how's it going to look in a suburban area of Washington, or Vegas Drive, Decatur, Washington, Decatur? Arnie, if you can come up for a second and look and lay out the maps. We'd like to also give you an overview, Your Honor, and council members, of what it's going to look like from an aerial view, if you will. Arnie, if you care to take the microphone and describe what we're discussing.
Good morning, Mayor Goodman, Mayor Pro Tem Reese, and City Council members, and congratulations to Councilman Barlow. My name is Arnold Stock, Metro Development Group, 8100 West Sahara Avenue. The proposed Decatur Vegas Square mixed-use development will be an urban village, a true urban village that is located in the heart of the Las Vegas Valley at the major intersection of Decatur Boulevard and Vegas Drive. It is proposed that this will become a city place where people will go to who can live, shop, work, and come for entertainment from all over Southern Nevada, and will include the following uses. Retail shops consist of 50,000 square feet located on the Decatur Boulevard frontage. It'll have an open-air Grand Central Plaza, retail shops, retail kiosks, outdoor restaurants, neighborhood-oriented retail, medical offices, and supportive services for seniors. The open-air market will be located on the Grand Central Plaza adjacent to retail shops, and will have vendors selling all sorts of goods, small businesses, and business owners. There'll be 650 approximately senior apartments sited on a pedestrian main street with humanistic amenities such as pools, community centers, and various units facing the courtyards. The Decatur Vegas Square development has been inspired by the highly successful mixed-use developments such as the District in Green Valley. This site is located in the Redevelopment Revitalization Project area and will be a catalyst for the rejuvenation of the entire area. We have created a people place that includes affordable housing for senior adults at a time when affordable housing is so badly needed throughout the Las Vegas Valley. Thank you for consideration of this proposal, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Your Honor, that pretty much makes the formal proposal. I know this, we've been here before. This has been a project for 3 years. As Scott Adams has mentioned, the lawsuit really delayed it. As all of you know, that once the lawsuit was encumbered on the property, it bled over to 1501 North Decatur, which then left no option whatsoever to be able to fund this. The one area that Mr. Adams addressed was the cross-parking easement. Your Honor, we're taking this almost in a global area, and Councilman Barlow knows, in representing this area before, it is not just 1501 North Decatur. We're actually we're trying to revitalize the whole area to be selfish, from Washington to Vegas Drive, from Jones down to Decatur, in order to make it a jump start, because it is becoming a blight, and it shouldn't. With the actions the city mayor and city council have done, it's a way to bring back neighborhoods. It's a way to bring back neighbors, Your Honor.
It's not becoming a blight. It's blighted.
I know. I live there, so I don't want to say it was blighted. But we don't want to ever harm any of the two adjacent properties. We want to be able to work with them however we have to. And in working with the property in the past, as Mr. Adams has said, there have been articles or memos passed back and forth that we thought, in looking at Mr. Bain and Mr. Rexroad and myself, there was a way to live as far as a community. And for the record, Your Honor, if I could submit, this is the mutual parking agreement from 1963. If I could submit that for the record. I apologize. This is the best they could do with the city clerk. We pulled this yesterday from the city clerk, and I think this is county recorder. I apologize.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, it is a mutual parking agreement. We want to make the adjacent properties successful. I think by bringing rooftops here, you will see that. You will see the success of jump-starting both of these properties. If you have people living here, they have to have places to shop, they have to have places to partake in, to eat, dine, regardless if they are seniors on fixed income. They still have to have these necessities. So we felt that by allowing access, as you see here, this right here is the retail, Your Honor, and this is the underground parking. So it's aggressive. When we said we're going to go subterranean, it's going to cost us more, but I think by giving, you get more.
How much is it going to cost? Your entire project?
Entire project's about $52 million.
And as I understand it, you have negotiations are ongoing with Wells Fargo.
Yes, sir.
And this morning when we met, you showed me a document which would suggest that you'll probably have an answer on your financing probably within 60 to 70 days. Is that right?
Correct. And then it goes to HUD.
Right. And I want the record also to reflect that yesterday I spoke to Bruce Bain, to whom you made reference. He was vacationing with his family, interrupted that vacation to answer my question, that he is totally committed to this project, and as a matter of fact, he's the one who put up the $325,000, which was referenced by Mr. Adams, correct?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell the council how you propose to build the development? Oftentimes, we have portions of it built to completion and not the holistic approach. Well, what's your intention as far as the building process?
Building process, Your Honor, is to start. You have a portal still? Want me to start the portal? Microphone? All right. Oh.
Did you say $52 million to build it?
Yes, Your Honor. That's what we have from Wells Fargo. Thank you, Scott. A lot of this, Your Honor, this is the largest development that if you were to speak with HUD, that you will see that is taking place today in this valley. The overview is going to, or the last word is going to be in their doorstep, dealing with Wells Fargo and HUD. But if you look at the aggressive approach, is to build the retail up here, and then as we start to, they call it phasing. Once you have a commitment from people that are willing to move in, they start to release the funds, and that keeps us going along the way. And then the two bedrooms would be the need in the very back. In talking with Dr. Lisa Morse, never putting words in their hands, but you have wonderful staff in neighborhood services, and also Ken Levine from HUD. We could fill these as we start to build them. The statement that Mr. Moran made was no joke. In 2003, there were 10,000 seniors with no place to go, on fixed income. Imagine what that number is now. And they're reaching out to your neighborhood services and HUD. So as we start to have commitments, Your Honor, Wells Fargo, in the process that everybody's educated in finance, they would start to release the funds and allow us to keep building. When they call it phases, that doesn't mean we build and then stop and build and then stop. Once we have commitment, we can show to them and we continue our building. So we like to, our goal, our selfish goal, Your Honor, to have full disclosure, I still have a place on Carmen Boulevard, live and raised. So this would help my neighborhood. It would help my neighbors that have been there for 40 and 50 years.
All right, very good. Are there any questions of...
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just wondered, Mr. McDonald, if you would show the rest of the council where they're going to be the health services.
Yes, ma'am.
So that the community health area is covered too.
Well, the vision we had is, Your Honor, we want to make a one-stop shop. In the retail up here, we've already been in negotiations with CVS, representatives from CVS, as well as Walgreens, that would like to partake there. If there's going to be 650 units here, 600 units to be conservative, Mr. Adams, that we had a place to shop. Well, if I have seniors that live there, they need the necessities. So that would be the retail part, Your Honor, and Council. Councilwoman, as we discussed time ago, we want to be able to have senior centers, also wellness centers where doctors can come, dentists, podiatrists, dietitians, cardiologists, and almost like an area where they can come in, give well checks to seniors, and also emergency checks if we have to. We wanted to put more of a urgent care, Your Honor. When we first sat down with Mr. Baines, they wanted to have almost like a triage center, for lack of a better term, emergency center. But they said we'd have to put beds in here and maintain it as that well. Our vision is we want to be able to have seniors that, if they're in trouble, they have immediate needs. We would offer, on this part, Your Honor, an office for Metro and also an officer for paramedics and the fire department if needed. So it would cover almost everything we need as far as having seniors on staff that would help seniors. We'd like to have people, representatives from the leisure, the City of Las Vegas, Parks and Recs and leisure centers, legal, the senior, Sugar Vogel is just up here, have them come out. We want to make this a one-stop shop for seniors.
But I just wanted to show on, if you could show on the map, it's the bottom of that L shape.
Yes, sure.
That light pink area, that's where the offices of the medical doctors would be.
Yes, ma'am.
Which was discussed at the beginning of this project.
Yes.
And that would be the part closest to the senior housing. So they could walk their motor scooters.
We also had a vision, talking to representatives from CVS and Walgreens, that we'd like to have almost a courier service, and it would, bikes, if you have any prescriptions or necessities, you need your staples, they would be able to run them to them, which would then also create jobs in the neighborhood.
Mayor Goodman.
Yes, Councilman Wilson.
Mr. McDonald and your colleagues and Mr. Adams, I apologize I missed the first part of the presentation. Mr. McDonald and his group have been working with the city for about 3 years to try and get this project on. Isn't that right, Mr. Adams?
Not quite that, about 2 years, yeah.
2 years. Would it be fair to say that there aren't any other developers banging down the city's doors trying to develop this location?
We haven't issued an RFP on this, so I really can't say. I can't say on the record that's true, but given the fact that it's a blighted location, we haven't had developers beat our doors down. That isn't to say there isn't other development interests out there.
But my point is that even though we haven't issued an RFP, anybody can see that this is a location that needs to be developed and needs to be improved. And if there were developers that were really, really interested, regardless of the RFP, they'd make the phone call, they'd contact your office, and they'd say, what's going on with this property? I'm interested in developing it. Now, we haven't had a lot of those phone calls.
No, and certainly none that have presented anything that's at this scale that represents this level of investment on this site.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, well, I guess only an idiot wouldn't say that this transaction is going to be looked at very carefully because of the fact that former Councilman McDonald is wearing a tie that is the most obnoxious tie I've ever seen in my life. But in addition to the tie, which he sports today, he brings a storied history and reputation to City Hall and appears in front of us today. And I can tell you one thing about Michael McDonald, and we've had our differences in the past, as people know, but we made, it's a funny thing, sometimes when you have your differences and you make up, you become fast friends. Nobody has a feel, because he was a master at being a ward-type politician as far as relating to his constituents and being the kind of politician that the mayor pro tem is with the speed bumps and the speed humps and the stop signs and the noise. And he cared about what people who were in his constituency were concerned about it and acted on it immediately. And for whatever faults we have, that was not his. It was a virtue on his part. And he has been talking to me for years, way before 2003, about Vegas and Decatur. It almost took on a secondary meaning when he had these conversations. It meant to me that it was an area that was blighted, it was an area that was going backwards, that it was an area that really was creating the inability for the neighborhood to have pride in itself, and always spoke in terms of doing something over there. And that feel for his community blossomed into his recognition that senior housing is, as Mr. Moran stated, as Ms. Turner stated, and others, something that is oftentimes talked about, but most of the time ignored. And we have such a strong agreement drafted by Mr. Adams and his office to assure that there will be no failure on this. We can't assure success. Success is in your hands, Mr. McDonald, as to whether or not we're going to have these units and whether or not we're going to be able to care for those folks in our community who need to live in a residential area like this and have pride in that area and feel like they're part of a beautiful neighborhood, which, of course, if this comes to fruition, it will be. I think that the findings are easy to be made. I think that the qualitative finding is that's a no-brainer as far as affordable housing. I mean, that's a given. if we had to have a vote, it's a unanimous vote that we're satisfying that. As far as the quantitative analysis, as on the tax increment, if one were to appraise the property now, we would get a figure which is relatively low, and then with this development taking place on it, we are entitled to the differential, as I understand it, under the increment, which then comes to the city, which we could then pour back into redevelopment area efforts. It's a win-win. I can't think of a better product. The only downside is your tie, because that's going to be criticized in the media that the city is doing business with a fellow who wears a Donald Duck tie to the council. But the bottom line is, I think that this is a winner. $52 million going in at Vegas and Decatur. Nobody would have ever given 2 cents to go into that particular area. And we had serious discussions about the differential in the initial appraisal, which took place before the boom took place. Well, we're not the boom anymore up at Vegas and Decatur. I don't know who came up with an increase in the figure, but to me it makes absolutely 0 sense, because I think that if you went out to sell this property right now on the open market without even the benefits that the seniors are going to be getting or the city's going to be getting on the increment, you're not going to get anywhere near that kind of money. I would find that hard to believe, but the bottom line is nobody has offered to build this kind of a product except this group here, and I'm hoping that they succeed. If you fail, we're no worse off. We've lost 6 months on the DDA. If you succeed and you get your financing that it looks like the bank's ready to give you, and you get the cooperation from HUD, the city's a better place. This is an easy one for me.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else?
Yes, Your Honor, if you don't.
Yes, certainly, Councilman.
1501 North Decatur is a location that I've worked with very diligently since 99, I believe, or 2000. And it is a prime area for the specific use of affordable senior housing. The community truly is in need of such housing units due to the increase of seniors moving into the community, as Ms. Turner so eloquently mentioned. I believe this development will trigger the surrounding properties to redevelop, as well as resuscitate the area with a fresh new look and bring in quality amenities that does not currently exist today. As far as the qualitative and quantitative threshold that Mr. Adams mentioned, I truly believe that we meet both of those categories. And the senior community is excited about it, I'm sure. I'm elated, and the developer and his team should be commended for not only giving back to the community, but giving back to the community in a very big way on behalf of the seniors of this community. So with that, I will be in support of this item, and I would ask that the council also support me, as well as the developer, to move this development forward for the greater good and the vision of the council and the community as a whole.
Thank you. If there are no further remarks, Councilman Barlow, do you have a motion on council number 88, please?
Yes, I would like to move for approval subject to all staff conditions.
Let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. On council number 74, please.
Yes, I would like to move for approval subject to all staff conditions.
Please vote. Opposed? Motion carries. And on agency number 5, please.
Yes, once again, I would like to move forward for approval subject to all staff conditions.
Thank you. Let's vote. Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you. Can I take one moment, sir?
Sure.
This has been a long process, and there's some people that really have gone to the mat. From Scott Adams, our director, he's been at the forefront, and I can't thank him enough for the vision and staying with it. Brad Jerbick and his staff, through the lawsuits and everything, thank you very, very much. I mean, there was name calling, and Your Honor, I've been blamed for a lot of things, but things I didn't even know, and your staff stuck by us, and we saw it through and was successful. Dr. Selby, thank you very much for your leadership as always. The journey started with him, and hopefully will end with you and the mayor and city council out there cutting the ribbon. From Scott's staff, you had definitely thanks to Stoney Douglas, who started this, and stuck with us. Steve Van Gorp, he's been a blessing. He's worked hard to make sure he pounded out an agreement that the city was be protective, even though it's more of a burden for us, Steve. Ab Sumner, he's day and night always been on the forefront of this, Your Honor. You have wonderful staff. I mean, when I was here, I knew we did, but where it has grown now underneath your leadership it's world class, and I'm proud to be part of it. There's only a couple things that left. Councilwoman Tarkanian, when this was in your ward, thank you so much. I know you worked tirelessly along with your staff, and Jeannie, Robin, and Kimberly. Thank you very, very much. And Councilman Ricky Barlow, you've been the driving force. Ward 5 as a liaison. It's proud to have you as our leader now, and we won't let you down.
Thank you.
And last of all, to my #1 seniors, Mom and Dad at home. My dad turns 82 tomorrow, so this is a great birthday present you guys have given. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Another guy who went to the Rob Baer School of Speaking. Okay. Council number 75, Council number 89, and Agency number 6. Council number 75 is discussion and possible action regarding a memorandum of understanding between the City of Las Vegas and REI Neon LLC regarding the possible future cooperative examination of the potential creation of a tourism improvement district pursuant to NRS 271A for the possible future development of a proposed major mixed-use development and event center for the area bound generally by Charleston Boulevard on the north, Main Street on the east, Wyoming Avenue on the south, and Union Pacific Railroad on the west. Council number 89 is R52-207. That's R52-2007. Discussion and possible action regarding a resolution consenting to the undertakings of the Redevelopment Agency regarding the owner participation agreement between the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency and REI Neon LLC for the possible future development of a proposed major mixed-use development and event center for the area bound generally by Charleston Boulevard on the north, Main Street on the east, Wyoming Avenue on the south, and Union Pacific Railroad on the west. Agency number 6 is RA-10-2007. Discussion and possible action regarding a resolution finding that the project known as Project Pulse, subject to an ownership participation agreement, OPA, between the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency and REI Neon LLC is in compliance with and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of the redevelopment plan and further approving the OPA. All of these items are in Ward 3, Mayor Pro Tem's ward. Mr. Adam.
Okay, this is another multi-part item where there are 2 City Council agenda items and an RDA item. City Council agenda item number 75 is respecting an MOU for the possible creation of a tourism improvement district. 89 is resolution consenting to the actions taken by the RDA. That's a typical resolution that the council approves where you consent to the actions, you find those actions consistent with the redevelopment plan. And then RDA item number 6 makes RDA findings and then approves an owner participation agreement on the project. And let me give you a quick overview of what that project is. On the overhead, you see a map which shows the project site, which is an area bounded by Charleston, the railroad, Maine, and Wyoming, which was assembled quite some time ago and which is now under contract by a group which is REI Neon LLC. They are proposing a very, very large project. The project consists of a 22,000-seat professional sports arena, 550,000 square feet of commercial space, 3.5 million square feet of exhibition or office space, 300,000 square feet of casino floor area, 950,000 square feet of related casino area, 6,000 hotel rooms, 1,500 condo hotel rooms, and 1,500 condo units. Its projected build-out would be about a $9.5 billion investment.
That's a B.
That's a B. Now, by reference, yesterday, the Echelon Place on the Strip broke ground at about half that. So this would be not only the largest project in the history of the city, probably in the valley, in terms of total build-out. we have been working with not only the assembler of this site, but REI from the moment they walked through the door when they came forward, indicated they had interest in purchasing this site and wanted to build a very large mixed-use development on that site. From that very beginning, they expressed interest in our redevelopment incentives. We have been very careful as we've moved forward on this project to indicate to them that we are willing to move forward and entertain the approval of certain incentives so long as there is no indication that we are in any way pre-selecting them as the ultimate developer of an event center or arena, which we are in the midst of an RFP process on. So I need to say that right up front for the record, that a number of these items are all sort of preconditioned and structured on, at least for the arena portions, they're being selected, the arena developer, which is still a decision that you have yet to make as City Council. So I needed to state that for the record. The first item, the MOU for the creation of a tourism improvement district, is very much a best efforts MOU on our part. And there is a provision in that MOU that conditions are providing best efforts in exploring and examining the feasibility of creating a tourism improvement district on their being selected as the arena developer. This is sort of a fallback incentive that should we approve an owner participation agreement, they be selected for the event center development, we go forward and they use TIF rebates, and for some reason those TIF rebates don't fully materialize at the levels that they need to make this project feasible, then the tourism improvement district becomes another tool that they can use to close the gap financially on their needs in terms of building an arena. Now, I would characterize this project that if they go forward and are selected, we have a situation here because of the large scale of the project where the city would get an arena built at their total risk for simply tax abatement. I mean, in a nutshell, they're willing to take the risk in building a private arena on a private site for simply a TIF rebate that we provided on a number of projects throughout the downtown area.
Mayor Goodman?
Yes.
Excuse me, just for the benefit of our listeners, would you tell our listeners what a TIF rebate is?
And I'm going to tell you about both of those. Actually, a tourism improvement district is a new law that was passed a session ago that simply provides sales tax increment financing of 75% of projected sales tax in an area, should you able to prove that a preponderance of that sales tax is generated by tourists coming in from outside Nevada. It's very difficult to put together, but it's one of those things that we'd work together with them and explore the feasibility of should they be selected for the arena. Tax increment financing, TIF rebates, we have approved on a number of projects, namely World Market Center, the Factory Outlet Mall, the IRS building, and Allure. That simply captures, under the redevelopment area, the normal taxes that go to the normal taxing jurisdictions are captured, and that increase in taxes resulting from a project go into the redevelopment agency special revenue fund. We're able to rebate a portion of those taxes back to the developer, which is essentially tax abatement. It's just that under Nevada law, we have to do it a different way than other states where they provide an assessment relief through tax abatement. We actually enter into an agreement, which we have on your agenda here, which is an owner participation agreement that establishes the method and procedure in which we do that. And we do that through creating a note payable to the developer, the annual payments of which are those increase in taxes. Now, in this project, we're proposing a little bit different structure than we have on prior projects, and for a number of reasons. The owner participation agreement, if they don't build the event center, and this is an important distinction, if they don't build the event center or are selected for event center development, allows for a 41% standard TIF rebate to them just like we've done on any other project downtown. And that's to support the total mixed-use development portion of their project. If they're selected for event center development and they move forward with the development of the arena, we're proposing that be increased to 50% against the arena and 15% against their on- and off-site infrastructure costs, for a total of 65%. So if they don't get arena development rights and are selected, it's 41%. If they are selected for the arena and move forward and build the arena, it's 65%. What happens to the remainder of the TIF? If you remember, 18% of that is set aside by statute for affordable housing. That's in the statute. We can't fool with that. We're recommending in this owner participation agreement that that be committed into or near the Arts District, so that there's a significant commitment to build affordable housing in or near the Arts District. And that's an important component of this. Additionally, 15% of the TIF comes back to the redevelopment agency under the arena development scenario, should they be selected for that. That leaves 2% that we recommend go back into the Arts District on arts-related improvements, yet to be defined. But that's where this is a little bit different than our standard owner participation agreement, in that we've defined in the agreement that we commit certain portions of the TIF funds generated by the project back into or near the Arts District to really help accelerate the development of the Arts District and arts-related projects. I think there has been some concern expressed by persons in the Arts District about the potential impact of this project on the Arts District. And we're recommending these minor changes to how we use the TIF generated by the project to address the concerns of persons who have a strong vested interest in the Arts District. We believe that this project will have a positive impact on the development of the Arts District. Putting an arena adjacent to an Arts District, creating a strong activity generator, will generate a tremendous number of people coming in and out of that Arts District. And I think the issue is tying the improvements into that district.
You just hit it right on the head, though, what you just said, and I want that brought out also. Who's going to build this arena and how much is it going to cost?
Under their projections, they would build it privately at their cost, and I believe their estimate is $500 million? $500 million.
Right there, though. But it's not costing the taxpayers of the city or the county anything. The city's getting a first-class arena.
That's correct.
World-class.
That's correct. And
so you talk about the TIF financing and all that. This was happening.
That's correct. Okay. So it's a very large-scale project. We have a owner participation agreement that's virtually the standard owner participation agreement we presented to you previously, with the difference being we are recommending a specific allocation of those TIF percentages back in or near the Arts District, and there's a residual that would come back to the agency. There's a dual structure, and I'll repeat this again. They would get 41% if they're not selected for the arena and don't build it. They would get 65% if they're selected and go forward and build the arena and event center. And so it's for an additional abatement above and beyond that which we typically provide any project downtown. We get a private developer to take all the risk. We have no risk. I mean, this is an interesting transaction. I think it's important to point out under TIF, we don't rebate it until they build it. I mean, that's where, we've had discussions in the past on prior projects. It's a very interesting incentive in that it isn't actually provided until they actually build the development. And at that point, when they build it and it goes on the rolls, the owner participation agreement provides for a process where at that point we know what it's on the rolls for. We craft a note based on what it goes on the rolls for, and we rebate only a percentage of actual taxes paid to protect the city's position. We can't get ourselves into a note where we have an obligation that exceeds our ability to pay through the actual taxes collected. And that's another point I want to make for the record as well.
Right now, as we stand here, we have 100% of nothing.
That's correct. The area is as it is. Now, if they build the $9.5 billion through full build-out by phase, we expect this project to be something similar, and I don't want to exactly compare the two, but to World Market Center, where you've entered into a multi-phase owner participation agreement where we are engaging in TIF rebates for subsequent phases of that development. This is the same kind of project where they would build it out in phases. On each phase, we would craft a note, come back to you for approval of that, and there would be a TIF rebate tied to each phase.
All right, so as the Mayor Pro Tem elicited, assuming that everything goes the way they would like it to go, we get a $500 million casino for nothing. I mean, arena for nothing. And how much do we get in what is our end of the TIF?
Well, and we believe that arena will be taxable because it's a private development on a private site.
Right.
Our rough estimation is that on almost any TIF project, this TIF would be generated at about 1% of development cost, what it would go on the rolls for.
So 9
total TIF. And then we'd rebate those percentages accordingly.
But on a $9.5 billion project, what would we expect to get?
Somewhere in the vicinity of $950 million of new taxes.
Okay. That sort of sums it up. Okay. Did you want to be heard?
I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Jill Ferrari. I'm a member of REI Neon LLC, and I act as the project manager. And we're going to be back in front of you later today. Thank you. With a full explanation of the project. So we'll wait then to really go into the details. But I'm here if you have any questions on the TIF and on the OPA.
Okay. I just want to make it perfectly clear so there's never a mistake. I said it to you to your face, and I'm going to say it to you publicly, that the arena project is of great import to the city of Las Vegas. And we have engaged in a process where I think we've bent over backwards to assure a level playing field to all of the applicants. I've met with the individual applicants. They're terrific. Each project is better than the next as they explain it to me. Each one is terrific for the city as they explain it to me. Each one isn't going to cost the city taxpayers anything. It's a wonderful thing. And I just want you to know while you're going into this that I in my heart believe that it is a level playing field and that you have not, if you think you have a head start on anybody because of this, you're mistaken. And I just want you to know that. When we have the process where our committee's going to be going through these applications, and I believe that's July 12th and 13th, Dr. Selby? I think so. It's going to be a fair and square deal because that's what I've assured everybody who's involved. And as long as you understand that and we go forward, I'm delighted with it. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I think it might be helpful for the record to indicate that the RFP that we issued for the event center did provide for and make available to every respondent the ability to come in and package normal tax incentives on private sites. So this is a situation where they've identified that and simply come in and ask for that tax incentive package be done in advance of the deadline for the RFPs. That same advantage was available to every other respondent in the process.
And I appreciate that, and that is accurate.
Thank you. I understand, and I just want you to know that we've spent a lot of time taking that RFP response very seriously. We've pulled together a very dynamic team, and we intend to submit something that's fantastic. It has to be.
Well, I'll tell you this. From my perspective, you're the real deal because
Thank you.
I think you've hired every lawyer, every PR person, every lobbyist in town to assist you on this, and that shows you're serious, and that's what we want to see because and it's from my lips to God's ears, okay, if this project were ever to take place, and I'm going to say it this afternoon, it has to be taught in every business school from Harvard business to Stanford business to Duke business to the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania, because it will be a miracle. But miracles happen in the city of Las Vegas. That's all I can tell you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, and I should also point out for the record, we've also done a very extensive public purpose analysis on this project for the owner participation agreement. It's attached as part of your backup. I'll just mention it by reference because it's too lengthy to go into here. What we did on this one, which is different than the ones we normally do, is we have taken the statute that identifies all the things that we have to make findings of under the Redevelopment Agency statute and address each one of those individually in our public purpose analysis. So we've gone to great pains to project what we believe the impacts are on this project as it relate to the findings under the statute.
All right, very good.
Very good.
Thank you. Yes.
Please, just a question and an observation. In a light most favorable to the Arts District, and I'm kind of talking geographically, what are they losing? In simple terms, if we look at the Arts District and then look at this 85-acre assemblage, what are they losing?
The Arts District, and I wish I had the map that showed the two coterminous, but the Arts District boundary currently goes into this area and affects 2 blocks. So there's roughly just a little bit over 2 blocks that the Pulse project takes out of the Arts District. I know they're working diligently to develop a master plan that...
Please, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes. The Arts District, to me, is not losing anything with this proposal. These developers have come in and worked very diligently with the Arts District. And the Arts District is going to be way bigger, way better than it is right today.
Okay, that's my point, and that's the point that I wanted to be made clear here, is they're not really losing anything by this project.
No, I would, it's interesting. Again, another comparative example, I would maybe compare this to the impact that Petco Park had on the gas lamp district in San Diego. In the field of redevelopment, one of the things you really struggle with in redeveloping any area is identifying and getting committed to the activity generators, the things that draw people into an area and help make that area happen. In this case, we're not only getting the arena, but we're getting a very exciting large-scale mixed-use development that should drive tremendous traffic in and out of that area and we believe accelerate the development of the Arts District.
I mean, to me, and here's my observation, to me, any other medium-sized or major city in the world would have their mouths watering over a project like this. An assembly of 85 acres, literally within walking distance of our downtown hub, our 61-acre Union Park development. I mean, I understand the Arts District people and businesses and the sensitivity in that respect, but this is just a phenomenal project. I don't know how else to view this project.
I need to mention then, we've seen figures where those tourists that come in, when they participate, I don't care what kind of a venue it is, they spend much more money than do the local people. And so what you're doing here, you're putting 25,000 people 200 times a year into an area that is dying to have people come to it. And they're going to spend 3 or 4 times more money than we, the locals, will spend at this location. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. And I was going to wait till this afternoon, but there's many people that need to be, like the mayor said, a miracle. But this is something that has taken a lot of hard work by a lot of people. And I think that miracles are put here by God, and I think this here is just a lot of hard work by a lot of people. And if they are successful in putting this together, then it's going to be a miracle of many people.
All right,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that might be here from the Arts District. You have said that the monies that would go to affordable housing would be placed to affordable housing in the Arts District.
In or near. I think one of the issues is the potential that 18% of the TIF from this project would spin off is a substantial commitment to affordable housing. And one of our concerns is identifying sites, in the feasibility of projects within such a small area as the Arts District. So we've worded it to be in or near the Arts District to give us an opportunity to locate and maximize the impact on the Arts District of that investment.
Now, those people, those renters in that 2.5 blocks that will be displaced, is there a way to help them get some low rental, affordable rental area? I think that's a concern they have.
That's in the agreement.
Okay, good. Just checking everything here. And I also agree that if you have an arena and you can have people go there, locals or tourists, whatever, they could have dinner and then they could stroll through the Arts District. And to me, that's what the Arts District has been wanting to have, and that would be a wonderful asset for them. And the only other thing I wanted to say is that I imagine we're getting an excellent traffic study on this, because that could be a problem.
We actually prepared a traffic study that was submitted a few months ago and just recently supplemented it with 2 phasing plans. Each of those documents is about that thick. So there's 3 volumes altogether. We've met about 3 or 4 times with DPW staff.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that.
We'll be talking about that this afternoon,
Okay.
but things look good.
Very good. Okay, can I have a motion, please?
Public comment on this?
No,
Mayor, I have a question.
got to move this along. Yes,
I have a question. Well, number one, my statement is I'm really impressed with the developer and the way you all have acquired the subject properties in the area. And Mr. Adams, although this is a great development, I'm concerned in regards to how the pros and cons of this particular property in relation to the 61 acres. What will be the effects of this particular property and the 61 acres and what we're trying to do there in relation to this as well?
At a very high level, I think, and I could use what they basically told us when they came in terms of making this investment. I think we're redefining what the north end of the Strip is here. If you look at the evolution of Las Vegas and how things have happened along the Strip, there's the last couple acquisitions on the Strip were at the north end, and now the Strip is virtually sold out. This really kind of leapfrogs the Strip into the south end of downtown. From my view and our perspective, it now positions Union Park at the north end of the Strip and brings a tremendous new accelerant and set of activity generators into the downtown, which actually, in my opinion, would further accelerate the development of Union Park. Now, instead of Union Park being there all by itself, having to drive its own demand, you've got another large project there that helps make it happen. If you saw that, that's what's happened on the Strip. There's been a synergy from one project to the next, and I think you're going to see that same thing happen if this occurs relative to Union Park.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's have a motion, please.
Your Honor, on item number 75, I will move to follow staff's recommendation for approval with all conditions.
Let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. 89, please.
And on 89, I'll make a motion for approval with all staff conditions.
Let's vote, please. Opposed?
And on agency number...
Wait. Opposed? Motion carries.
And item agency number 6, I'll wait till this afternoon to make more of my comments, but I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendation for approval on this item.
Let's vote. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll see you this afternoon.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
see you later on this afternoon.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay. All right. Council number 87 is R50-2007. Discussion and possible action regarding a resolution consenting to the undertakings of the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency, RDA, in connection with the Commercial Visual Improvement Program, agreement between the Redevelopment Agency and Richard P. Lamb, Jack Bowd, and the Ragsdale Trust, owners, and Infinite Holdings, LLC, doing business as Bridger Inn Hotel, tenant and CVIP participant, located at 301 South Main Street, to be in compliance with and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of the Redevelopment Agency. Agency number 7 is RA-11-2007. Discussion and possible action regarding a resolution finding the project proposed by the Commercial Visual Improvement Program, agreement between the Redevelopment Agency and Richard P. Lamb, Jack Bowd, and the Ragsdale Trust, and Infinite Holdings, LLC, DBA Bridger Inn Hotel as tenant and CVIP participant, at 301 South Main Street to be in compliance with and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of the Redevelopment Agency. And finally, agency number 8, discussion and possible action regarding a commercial visual improvement program with Richard Lamb, Jack Baud, and the Ragsdale Trust as owners, and Infinite Holdings, LLC, doing business as Bridger Inn Hotel as tenant, and CVIP participant, providing funds to assist with improvements to a building and property located at 301 South Main Street, not to exceed $23,273.20 of Redevelopment Agency Special Revenue Fund. All of these items are in Ward 3, Mayor Pro Tem's ward. Mr. Adams.
Your Honor, if I could.
Yes.
I would preface all this today in thanking Mr. Adams publicly. We had a person at our last, a young man by the name of Mr. Marshall, who was our last council meeting, and got up under system participation and made some comments. Mr. Adams, the man he is, got up and made a few statements. Mr. Adams and I met with Mr. Marshall. Mr. Marshall can't be here today. He's out of town. He's on a big hike, sabbatical, whatever you want to call it, up in the northwest somewhere. Anyhow, Scott, I want you to know I appreciate your intensity on this issue, your honesty, and I think that the city would like to have you as our OBD director. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. The gentleman really, and I feel badly because he kind of got caught in a crack between our policies, and basically what happened was he was proposing to a VIP application where he was simply repainting the building and doing some minimal improvements to his sign and his awning. And we had changed the guidelines of the program where we didn't count interior improvements now against exterior improvements under the VIP program. And he felt upset because he's made significant improvements inside this building. And he felt he was doing his duty as a good property owner to maintain it in a good state of condition. He was going to make improvements to the exterior, and we determined that, and I did personally, that it didn't meet the guidelines. And I apologized publicly to him because I didn't tell him that until about 6 weeks into his application process. And for that, that shouldn't have happened. But we've since taken another look at it, and I'm prepared to stand before you and recommend that we go forward with this project by simply waiving that exterior requirement under the guidelines to give him credit for all the work he's done inside that building. He, because he was going on vacation, was a little upset because he needed to get this taken care of before he was going on a 3-month vacation. He's actually completed the improvements. So the photos that I've got before you show at the top what the building looked like and at the bottom what it looks like today. And what he's done is repainted it to a different color. He's rebuilt the sign. It really is the same sign, and rebuilt his awnings. What you have before you is a VIP request for a total project cost of just over $38,000 for his portion of half that. Now, he's completed his work, submitted us bills for the completed work for about $22,000. So I'm recommending that we enter into this agreement. I would state for the record that this clearly was an inducement on this project. He came to us, he applied under this program, his intent was to move forward subject to the availability of funds. He got to the point where he was forced personally to go ahead with it, and he did. So I would recommend we approve the VIP as you have it before you for the higher amount, with the understanding that he's already submitted us invoices for a lesser amount. Now,
for a higher amount.
For a lesser amount. He actually brought it in at a lower level. Now, he would like to see if he can work sidewalks and sidewalk improvements into his package. I would recommend we go ahead and approve the VIP package as you have it before you today. When he gets back from vacation, we'll work with him on the sidewalks, and should we be able to work that out, come back to you for an amendment to this agreement to add in the sidewalks at a later date. It's a little thornier because he's working out in the right-of-way. It requires public works approval and other approvals, and we just can't carte blanche approve that right now. So I'm recommending we go forward with a package as he's originally submitted and you have before you today, with all these understandings in place, and then come back to you later for any additional improvements per amendment.
Fine. Any questions, Mr. Adams? All right, motion, please.
Your Honor, I make a motion to follow staff's recommendation for approval on council item number 87, please.
Please vote. Opposed? Motion carries.
And agency item number 7, make a motion, the same motion for approval following staff's recommendation.
All right, let's vote on that, please. Opposed? Motion carries.
And item agency number 8, I also make a motion for approval of staff's recommendation.
Thank you. Please vote. Opposed, please. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Adams. All right, item number 9 is citizens' participation. Public comments during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the Redevelopment Agency. No subject may be acted upon by the Redevelopment Agency unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. So if you wish to be heard, please come up to the mic, and we'll put the 3-minute timer on, and be happy. No, 3 minutes. Yes, sir.
I'll give you 2 minutes.
Fine.
My name is Tom McGowan, Las Vegas resident. The redevelopment process is the property of all residents of the city of Las Vegas, and participation in the democratic process is the inalienable right of all citizens of the United States, including residents of the city of Las Vegas. Consequently, open public disclosure of public pertinent information and public participation in the democratic process is categorically imperative to ensure successful development and redevelopment in the genuine best public interest inclusively. REI Neon's Project Pulse is an important development project that can be a valuable asset of enduring benefit to the city of Las Vegas, but it's virtually ensured to be massive risk intensive and failure inherent if it's made to arbitrarily serve the benefit of any limited special public or private interest whatsoever. Therefore, bear in mind, the only best way to serve a limited private interest is within the larger context of service to the genuine best overall public interest inclusively. That's why the key word in the phrase community development is community, not development. You will learn that before you finish your final term in office. I guarantee it.
Anybody else like to be heard?
Beatrice Turner, West Las Vegas. You know, the project that Michael McDonald brought up not too long ago, you know, I really hope that project take wings and fly, because you don't know the need that seniors really, that's on fixed income, that need, that not only seniors, but disabled people, period. But they got to be at least 55 before they can go and live there. And I want to say to you, Councilman Brown, I'm going to be your neighbor.
All right, anybody else, please?
Dorothy Barnes, Las Vegas resident since 1999. I just like to say, I'd like to see Las Vegas be classified as a world-class city. And I said once before in previous meetings, when you are called a world-class city, you should have world-class people. And I've asked mental health to check on Nellis Air Force Base in relation to the civilian community here, because the mental health people need to really keep an eye on the ones that's in charge, the ones that's securing the city from the military base over here. And I'm not saying you don't have some good law enforcement people here, but they could get hurt with all this here, what I've gone through with. And I came to this city as a tourist, and I decided to stay as a newcomer because of all the things I saw here. And I thought it would be a great city to bring my family to, but I don't know what I'm going through with right now. But to be a world-class city, like I said, you must have world-class people with a world-class thinking ability. You can't have crazy folks sitting in charge. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to be heard?
Very briefly, Lance Moran, Mr. Mayor and Council. I just would like to let you know that there are 2 properties right within this massive area of the Arts District that have already been approached for low-cost housing, and that this TIF rebate would be a great, great help in getting those medium high-rise units already started. And I can't tell you how important affordable housing would be to your union project. People who work there could live there and afford to live there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else like to be heard? All right, folks, the redevelopment agency meeting is adjourned.